Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. And boy, do I have a treat for you, fine ladies and gentlemen. That's right. It's something a little bit different, actually, and it's not something that's completely unique to Guilecast. I started off when I started doing replays in the early days. I would do some from FAF, and I would do some classic games from GPG days. So there is precedent for me doing older stuff, but someone sent this little gem that we're going to be watching today into me, and I just couldn't resist it. So this is going back a ways. To give you an idea, the replay ID on this one is, if memory serves, I'll just put it like that. Oh, I'm such a wally. I've closed the window now, but it's like around the 2.5 million. I think it's like 2,500,000 odd level, right? That's how many games of FAF had been played up to that point. Now we're in like the 6.5 million range, so millions of games have been played since then. I mean, if I had to hazard a guess, I would say this is probably from some time around 2013, 2014, something like that, I'm guessing. But it's exciting stuff. But what is a first for Guilecast, and it's something I never normally do, and I want to be very clear about this, this does not represent a huge shift in my rules for submitting replays, guys. I'm going to cast a game that does have a desync in it, and the desync comes a ways before the end. Sometimes you'll see them pop up right at the end of the replay where there's just no possibility that the desync could really have changed anything that matters in the game. What I do know about this one is I know that the result is the same. What we will see is the result that happened, and people are eliminated in the same order. I just can't 100% vouch for the unit placement at every second of the game was exactly the way it was when it's played, and I hope you'll agree that the replay is nonetheless worth it. I liked it, and I just wanted to bring it to you anyway. But like I say, guys, please don't start littering my boxes with replays full of desyncs, because they don't stand any more chance of being casted now than they did before today. This is a one-off. It's going to be a custom 5v5, and it's going to be on Syrtis Major EP. I'm ready. You guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready, especially if it was played in 2014. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Ka-ching, ka-ching. So there we go. Resuming game. We'll call this Team 1 at the top up here, and this Team 2 down here at the bottom. Going first for Team 1 in Cyanide Scion, going Seraphim. Excuse me. We have Major Jock is awesome. And you would imagine that's the sort of name that some other prestigious player would mess about and change his name to. You know, that is the only, for this account at least, that is the only name this guy's ever had. I looked at the username utilities earlier, and now the scores have jumped into the hundreds. I just wanted to let you know this guy's actually about a 1400 odd. You can't see that now from where they're placed, but you can only catch it right at the beginning. Anyway, he's going Seraphim. He's opening first land there in Cyanide Scion. Moving on, team member number 2 to his right in Cybrin, very unfashionable. His name's Tager, and he's opening first land. Team member number 3 still on the back row. It's Hadouken, also going Cybrin. Do you like my impression there? Very good stuff. I thought it was special. He's going Burgundy Red Cybrin, opening first land. And last up on the back row, it's my good friend Lexi, the one and only Lexstock, going UEF. And opening first land in Ferrari Red. And the last member for Team 1 right at the front here. So it's 4 members in the back row and 1 at the front row. It's Sui, also going UEF there. How very sensible, in Mellow Yellow, opening first land. So that's Team 1. We've got a couple of Cybrins, a Seraphim, and 2 UEF. Let's take a look at Team 2 now, starting here at the bottom. It's the one and the only, the legendary Armageddon in Hallyborange Orange, going Aeon, opening first land. Next to him, either, I'm guessing, Wet Lettuce himself or some relative of, or acquaintance of. It's Fresh Celery, another Aeon, this time in Lurid Green, opening first land. Next to him in Pontiff White over here, it's Batman's Rooker going UEF, opening first and second land. Team member number 4 up here is none other than my good friend Chosen, going his unfashionably Cybrin. He usually rocks Seraphim, that is his race of choice, but he went Cybrin on this day, opening first land, going second land, potentially third land, and then fourth air. And last but not least, in Electric Blue, doing a distance build up the cliff, it's another Cybrin, it's Zero, opening first and second land. So what is that? That's 2 Aeon, that's 2 Cybrin, and a UEF. I think I have that right. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, that's the way it goes. And if you look up at the top right, this is before we had all of the important indicators like game quality and all of that kind of jazz. So I've got no idea how balanced this game was. All I can tell you is that it was worth casting. Interesting stuff indeed. Incidentally, guys, apologies for the epic break in programming. Managed to gloss over all of that before the start of this one. I've kind of done a partial rebuild of my PC, cleaned everything out. I was getting some horrible performance issues, some random computer turning off and onage without me actually asking it to, and all that jazz. Very frustrating. That coupled with having the builders in and it being the summer holidays, it's just not been good. It's not been a good time, but I've sourced a few days here and there over the next few weeks, so hopefully I will be able to make up for some of the lost time. I've certainly got a bit of a backlog of decent replays to bring you, so I will be bringing more content to you on a more regular basis, I promise, so stay tuned. So the ACUs down here at the bottom for Team 2 on the move, heading to that bottom aperture. Already got a few Mantis breaking through to the bottom there from Hadouken, and yes, I will be doing that every single time I refer to his name. Better hope that he doesn't feature much in this game. A little bit of collateral damage from the neutral PDs in the center there. Zero losing an engineer to that T1 PD. Batman's Rooker coming out with his ACU, as is Zero, getting some factories on that central ridge. 1 ACU there for Hadouken. No, I'm not going to do that every single time, but I would like to, but I have a feeling it's going to great. But he's come out onto the center. Where is Lexicon? Well, he's on the center too, actually. Tons and tons of UEF factories queued up for him. I'm hearing some basic fire going off somewhere. Could it be down here at the bottom? So Hadouken has managed to skirt through to the bottom and is attacking the T1 mass extractor that's actually 33% odd done towards T2 for Armageddon. He's going to be successful at picking that up, and Armageddon's actually had to pull his ACU to come down here and deal with that. Well, maybe not. 1 T1 bomber having a bit of luck there as they're static and not really on the move at all. No micro avoidance is going on there. Batman's Rooker, tired of all of this neutral PD BS in the center, is going to range those with a couple of Lobos. Take those down. T1 bombers out Fresh Celery, making life difficult for Lexdoc and Hadouken on the front line up here. Hadouken getting an upgrade on his commander. Not quite sure what that upgrade is pertaining to. I'm not sure if Notify actually works with the replays that are this old. 1 lone Mantis for Chosen. It's going to get tickled to death by a Jester there from Tega. But lots of redundant mass points up here at the top for Major Jock. Yet to grab hold of those, so potentially good stalling tactics there from Chosen. A little bit of an engineer drop up to the central ridge for Zero. Actually losing an engineer to... Was that the T1 PD fire, or 100% sure? Oh look, it's a little watermark. I'm guessing that's from whoever edited this map. SFO? Who knows? Could be a clan. I think I'd know more about this community by now. Fresh Celery caught on a bit of an upgrade here by Hadouken, who's strolling through the center, and he might be forced to cancel here. At the moment, he's only absorbing fire from this Mantis, but Lexstock is bearing down on him with the commander, and indeed he was forced to cancel. How very, very painful indeed. And in fact, I think I know why Notify isn't working. Showing the game off and having a little game with my son not so long ago, trying to introduce him to the wonders of FAF, and as a result had to turn a few of the mods off. I don't think I managed to turn them back on, but alas, I'm sure we will get along just fine without it. We survived without it for years. Sui massing in the center with his comm and a whole bunch of T1. Batman's Rooker coming to meet him on the other side of the neutral base there. Little conflict brewing, it would seem. Fresh Celery dropped back and getting some defenses online. ACU T2 upgrade. Well, so no, we are getting the those little notifications. Just doesn't seem to be consistent. Lexstock and Hadouken trying to get some Cerberus turrets online, taking some fire from a couple of Vipers down here, or a Viper. They're gonna finish that off though. All they really need to do is get a little bit of a identifying radar signature on it, and the Cerberus turret should be able to do the rest. Boy, is that a mess though. Bombers overhead from Fresh Celery, trying to harass, then two brands of interceptors, one from Taiga going after the bombers, but now Armageddon's joined the fray with his own, and major breach through the center from Sui. Batman's Rooker has lost about 40% of his overall HP on the comm there, and he's surrounded by Lobos in every direction, a few strikers in there as well. Now he's down to around 45% of his total health and falling. Batman's Rooker not overcharging an awful lot. Does he have access to it? He does have access to it, but he's got a low recharge rate, not a lot of spare energy going on there. Down into the red, 3,700 hit points left, but with Chosen's help, he's managed to finish off most of the units around the comm. There goes a Jester from Taiga, and Batman's Rooker withdraws, seems to be out of imminent danger for the time being. Sui diverts his forces and this time heads south towards Armageddon and Fresh Celery's area of the map. Meanwhile, down at the southern aperture, Armageddon taking fire from Hadouken's Cerberus turrets up on the ridge there. Zapper going down for a little extra defensive firepower. Lexstock has withdrawn with his commander. Definitely in terms of the build-up of forces on this area of the map, Team 1 look like they're in a stronger position. Sui, having broken through with his T1 though, has bumped into some forces of Zeros, some Rhinos, so he's transitioned, as we saw earlier with the Vipers, nicely to T2. Should have no problems holding that position. But Sui with gun upgrade looking very aggressive here. Batman's Rooker, after the damage he took earlier, has had to withdraw even further. He's got a shield up over here. It's actually a power shield, so some mobile shield coverage to assist him. He's trying to get a triad online to prevent Sui from pushing any further into friendly territory. Chosen completes the T2 upgrade on his commander, and he's been under pressure up at the top there from Major Jock, but he's fighting back nicely from the air with 3 T1 bombers. Not a lot of T1 interceptor coverage on the field for Team 1 at the moment. Team 2 seem to have a mild advantage in the skies, but in terms of ground pressure, it's all coming from Team 1 at the moment. Batman's Rooker has regened a little bit. He's up to around 6,600, and he's got access to overcharge, but what's his recharge like now? Well, it's significantly better than it was a moment ago, so much more coverage in terms of PGens there for him. Zero in the area as well. He's got access to overcharge, and Sui suddenly finds himself low on friendly forces in the area. Another triad about to go online. Sui prioritizing that initially, but now he's got two T2 PDs, and they're going to be going straight after him. He needs to be careful here. He's down to 4,000 hit points and falling. Yes, he's got a lot of support, friendly support coming in form of his own T1 for the time being, but that actually might be a hindrance if he gets caught up on his own units. And Zero and Chosen from the skies continue to pressure him. It could be a problem, but he gets a good rank of veterancy there at a clutch time. But another big hit comes in, takes him down into the red again. This is looking very sticky for Sui indeed, and he goes down at 11 minutes. Far too over-aggressive against the heavily stacked field down there. It's a thick front line with those 4 players close to that front player in the center. So, well, that was dangerous. Sui upset about the air coverage. Well, yeah, as we just said, it looked thin in the skies from Team 1. Of course, as soon as we say that, in come a load of Corsairs from Hadouken, but that now leaves the middle wide open. And in fact, Taiga looking isolated now. Team 2 counter push. They might be able to score a second kill here, potentially. But Fresh Celery down at the bottom is in full retreat against some T2 there from Lexstock. Armageddon has taken some damage, and in fact those Corsairs from Hadouken redirected towards him. Armageddon down to around 9,000 hit points there. Needs to keep mobile at all costs. This is very good pressurizing tactics here from Lexstock and Hadouken. Both ACUs in relative safety on the plateau, just allowing their T1 and T2 to get the work done for them at the moment. Meanwhile, up at the top, Chosen still unable to re-establish himself at the northern aperture against Major Jock, who is himself surging forward now with the Seraphim mobile missile launchers and assaulted T1 and T2. We've got Ilshivas in there. We've got Arshivas for air coverage. Does Chosen have overcharge? You would imagine so at this time. Yeah, he's got overcharge. 59,000 stored power there. Plenty of overcharges available, and Major Jock is not going to overextend, it wouldn't seem. Takes a bit of air damage, but lots of Arshivas, as we just said, blast those T1 bombers out of the sky with absolutely no difficulty whatsoever. T2 gunships, the order of the day now for Fresh Celery, wiping out the last of those units at the bottom. What's going on in terms of flak in this group? Yeah, so he can't really go in after these units with those gunships. They will get annihilated. Those skyboxers put out far too much damage for those to contend with. Best bet was actually to send those on the offensive, see if he can pick off a few vulnerable mass points over here. It looks like he's going to keep them in reserve for the time being. Chosen now counter pushing with his commander, and he's got the stealth, I think, on the commander there. You see that purple haze coming off the Siren commander. They are big into their herb. Oh, the Siren commanders. That's why they have all of those implants. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Find themselves at Siren tattoo parlors. Here, give me another implant. So Chosen looking like he's got this area locked down for the time being. Armageddon backing up slowly, but dishing out huge quantities of damage with that sniper comm. Look at the range on that bad boy, chucking in the occasional overcharge, which didn't seem to get anything done there. Looked like he got blocked by wall sections. I didn't think that was actually possible, but manages to pick off a Percy there. Nice work, sir. Still Lexstock continuing to press forward, and in comes a Titan there from Batman's Rooker. Little extra coverage, and you always know you're in trouble when you see teammates building defensive mercies there. A couple of Corsairs from Taiga absorbing T1 interceptor fire. fact, the Mercy still managed to get shot down by that Corsair. Batman's Rooker, though, pushing in through the center and looking like he's going in towards the bases of Hadouken and Lexstock. We haven't actually had a chance to stop and take stock of the eco in this game. Top player for the moment seems to be Major Jock up here. He's on 88. As far as I can see, unless it's reclaim related, second place should be Fresh Celery down here on 73. And then we've got Armageddon on 64. And we've got a 59 from Lexi, 55 from Chosen, 58 from Tega. And then everybody else behind that really needs to get their skates on. Catch up with the leaders, otherwise going to find themselves obsolete in this game. Armageddon with Spectres down here at the bottom now. I'm wondering if they were actually Fresh Celeries and they've been transferred. I did see a lot of fighters up here, so I might have missed a small gunship incursion, although lots of open mass points. Not a lot of open mass points, are only 2 over here, so if there was an incursion, it didn't get huge amounts of traction. Chosen with a couple of loyalists up on the plateau. They're going to fare well until this Otham turns up. Just the amount of pressure that's being applied from Lexstock on the ground. It's impressive stuff. Armageddon and Fresh Celery have had to be very careful indeed not to get carried away with their commanders and run headfirst into some of these Percivals. But a timely intervention there from Armageddon with some Harbingers rolling in from the north seems to have dispensed with this attack. Lexstock likely to have to pull back and regroup. And of course there's new facilities popping up down here at the bottom as well for Armageddon, so Lexstock needs to be careful there as well. More Titans coming in from Batman's Rooker. Batman's Rooker's con still chilling in the middle. And they're still busy cannibalizing some of the neutral structures, actually. Interesting that there are any of those still around. Major Jock with that small group we saw earlier, albeit slightly depleted. Still causing damage on this side of the field against Chosen. A little bit of support there from his teammate Tager as well. But all of the pressure still being applied from Team 1, and that's despite them being a man down. Sui's base still only just being picked up now. There are 2 more core mexes to be grabbed there by Tager, and Sui died 7 minutes ago, so this is slow work from Team 1. These should all be sitting at T2, you'd imagine, by now, with associated mass storage and all the rest of it. Wondering if that's an illustration of how much the game, and certainly the team game, has come on in the last 4 million replays or so. You would hope that the gameplay is evolving. It's not always possible to say that it is, though. I'm just astonished that Lexstock is able to sit in this area. I mean, he's been contending pretty much solo against 2 to 3 players at any one time. Yes, Hadouken has been present, but he's not been sending much in that direction. Ever since the death of Sui, he's been redirecting more of his forces towards the middle. And in fact, Hadouken almost short stacking on Eco. And I'm surprised actually that Chosen is so far behind. Is that power related? No, it's not. That is an accurate mass reading. And in fact, Zero looking like he's having trouble as well. He's actually not short stacked. It's still Chosen. He's only on 56. It was temporarily in the 30s there, but that was because of a power lockage he was having. Batman's Rooker breaches through the center with a couple of Titans. Looks like he's about to set up shop on the cliff edge with a Demolisher as well. Might just be in range of some of the more sensitive structures in Tager's base. Tager heading back towards his base. He could probably take out those Titans without much difficulty, but nonetheless he's feeling tentative. Oh, so look at that. Power gens under threat, as are mass extractors, mass storage. Not going to want to leave that Demolisher there for any length of time. And in fact, Batman's Rooker, recognizing a gap in the defenses, airdropping 2 more in there for good measure. The transport not going to make it home, but he got the offload in just fine. Those Demolishers now about to open up. Major air engagement there that's gone very badly, it would seem, for Fresh Celery. Swift Winds turned up and turned off. Literally just sat there and allowed the T1 Interceptor air wing of Hadouken to quite literally Hadouken them, but a strap bomber will make up for it. In comes and takes down a partially damaged T2 P-Gen, locked onto immediately by a couple of defending ASFs. It's not going to get a second bomb off. What's that done to Tager's power output? Well, he's still alright for the time being. But down at the southern aperture, it would seem like Lexi's continual pressure has finally petered out. Zero and Armageddon have both combined to repel that attack, and now setting their sights on dislodging that fortification in the center of Hadouken's. Couple of Burstmasters in there, but mostly it's Cerberus turrets. It's to kill off that T2 radar. There it goes. Got a bit of intel gone there for Team 1. Another airdrop, some T3 units. This time it's to the center of the map. Batman's Rooker still throwing up defenses in the middle. He's got a couple of T2 P-Gens online under there now, and now with SAMs and point defense and the rest of it looking relatively secure. Zero's also setting up a TAC missile battery, so we could potentially have some snipes on the card soon. Trebuchets from Chosen exchanging shells with Suthanus there from Major Jock, both impacting on the shields. It's going to be a while before either one of those two breach the other. Taking another quick look at the eco totals. Major Jock running away with it a little. 162 mass per tick. Fresh Celery still in second place on 135. Armageddon in third place on 122. Did I say Fresh Celery in third? Sorry, Fresh Celery in second. And Armageddon in third, 122 to 124 to 128 as I'm speaking. Climbing, nice to see. Tager in fourth on 96. And then we've got another 93 from Batman's Rooker, and everybody else lagging behind now. Lexstock, having spent so much time being aggressive, has now really fallen behind in eco on 55. Wants to get a handle on that and quick. Imagine that's why he's pulled his commander back. And he doesn't seem to be ploughing a lot of energy or build power into upgrading his eco, but it's definitely something he might want to consider. And astonishingly, it's the Seraphim shields that look like they might fail first. So could Major Jock be about to lose control of the northern aperture? Seeing a renewed presence down here from Hadouken and Lexstock as well. He's got 5 or 6 Percys in the area. Tega discussing the possibility to his teammates about a telesnipe. Please don't. If you're listening, Tega, we could do without that. Game's been pretty entertaining so far. Batman's Rooker advancing through the center, having a major issue with a patch of soil in front of the things he's shooting at, but when the Othams move, they finally come into sight. A quick overcharge deals with them. Batman's Rooker with 48 kills on that commander. And once again in a position to lob Demolisher rounds at Tega. Armageddon using the sniper bots to good effect, jostling backwards and forwards and laying down suppressing fire. Not that Percy's take much notice of fire suppression. But the first experimental to raise its head does so on the cusp of 24 minutes, and it's Major Jock, our mass leader, unsurprisingly, who's built one first. That Ethota strolling straight into Batman's Rooker's pile of Percys up front, dealing comprehensively with those units and losing a paltry 9,000 HP in the process. Shouldn't have any problems at finishing off the spearheads or indeed the assaulted T2 units in the middle from Zero as well. Now, where is Batman's Rooker's comm? Because he was in the middle, and there he is. And that's not a huge amount of leeway. Certainly want to be moving away from him, Batman. No super special gadgets to get you out of this one. That Ethota depletes the shields. That little fire base will be down and out much quicker than it took to build. And in fact, Batman's Rooker going for an airlift. He's got a transport nearby, but I don't think the transport's going to make it. It's certainly not. Batman's Rooker down to 7,400 HP. That Ethota's taken a lot of damage, but he's got plenty of time to catch up with Batman's comm. Batman making a play for Armageddon's base, but that range is unreal and he's not going to make it. The AoE on that death cannon picks him up. Batman's Rooker eliminated at 25 minutes, and Team 1 level the game in terms of player count, and worse still for Team 2. That Ethota is still going. Hadouken coming in behind it with wave upon wave of Rhino, couple in there, couple of pillars in there from Lexstock, and in fact it's a pincer movement from Lexstock and Hadouken, who are also coming in through the southern aperture as well, and there's just nothing here for Team 2 to defend against it. There's still a good 28,000 hit points on that Ethota. It's about to breach into Zero's base. Zero's comm is a gnat's whisker away from that Ethota. He better get a move on. There are Spectres in the area for Armageddon, but they're taking a lot of firepower, a lot of damage from somewhere. I'm not seeing a lot of flak in the area. We've got 1 or 2 skyboxes in there from Lexstock. Zero now taking fire though on his commander. The Ethota is down to 17,000 hit points. He needs to get a little bit better with his micro. The Ethota gets a ranking vet. I don't believe it. He's up to 35,000 hit points. Zero on around 10,000. Frame rates drop with all of the particles going off, but Zero doesn't make it. He's ejected at 26. Cascade fail now from Team 2, losing 2 of their commanders inside 2 minutes. They're going to lose a support commander as well. Chosen won't care. He just wants to lay as much damage down on that Ethota as possible. It finally goes back into the red once again, but will kill off that support commander, I'm sure. There it goes. Oh my goodness. Armageddon completes a GC, so hopefully for Team 2's sake they'll be able to stall this Ithota that's done so much damage. 75 kills, 2 commanders, 2 players eliminated. And now it's moving on to cause problems for Chosen's base, potentially having seen the Colossus's death ray in the distance. Thinks, nah, I don't like that. And in comes Major Jock up at the top as well. Chosen, though, in the area with his commander. I'm sure he's not going to worry too much about that. It's that Ithota that's much more dangerous. And of course, on the UI in the bottom left, I can't tell you, I don't have the information because of the old replay and the mods that aren't running. Can't tell you what's going on, how long before the next rank in veterancy on that Ithota. But he's got 8,000 hit points remaining, and he's going after Chosen's commander. Chosen, surely with lots of stored up energy. Yes, he does, so he will be able to overcharge quickly. Sui brown-nosing his teammate there, who's showing significantly more grit than he did on his assault, it has to be said. But Chosen has the microwave laser upgrade on the ACU, and a quick overcharge deals with that. So down goes the Ithota, and the threat is finally eliminated. But just look at the damage. Zero gone, Batman's Rook are gone, the middle opened up. Now we have another experimental coming in. This time it's a Monkey Lord from Taiga heading in through the center, and still the ground is very, very vulnerable. Armageddon needs to turn that GC around, surely, to combat the Monkey Lord, but he doesn't look like he's noticed it, I don't think. Does he have another experimental on the way? Well, yes, he does, and he's getting assistance there from Fresh Celery on the build, but it's going to be a while before that completes. Take a look at the hit points climbing in the bottom left. He's got to get to 99,000. There's a way to go on that. Meanwhile, with every passing moment, that Monkey Lord edges itself closer towards Armageddon and Fresh Celery's base. However, there's a gap in the market for a giant GC coming in through the face of Major Jock. He's got his installation up here at the top. That's going to be under pressure soon, and of course all you need to do is park a GC on the ridge there and fire down. But there's a nuke launcher on the way, or rather the nuke is built, the nuclear missile is on the way, and that's around 65 to 70% complete. Taiga getting an upgrade, getting a build on an experimental build with the Soul Ripper, absolutely losing it with this replay because so much has been going on. But in through the center now comes the Monkey Lord from Taiga, that giant sweeping microwave laser of doom opening up on everything it gets in range of. Armageddon wisely considering fleeing, but actually he's got a bit of shield coverage, and that just shows you the difference between an Ithota or a GC and a Monkey Lord with that paper-thin tank. A couple of overcharges, takes huge chunks off, and another one from Armageddon. That will be the end of the threat. Waiting on the recharge. One more, there it goes, and the threat eliminated. However, another threat coming in through the front door behind it from Lexdoc. Lots and lots of Percivals coming in to make trouble for Fresh Celery and Armageddon. Armageddon, however, is going to reach Major Jock's base. Major Jock isn't hanging around. He looks like he's evacing, nearly has a nuclear missile loaded and ready to go. We'll be firing that ASAP, I'm sure, just in case the nuke launcher dies. However, Armageddon has a choice to make here. Does he go after Major Jock or Taiga? Both their ACUs fleeing in opposite directions. We'll want to take out as much of the two bases as possible. The nuke is going to be ready any second, and you can see it says in the bottom left, nuking, so the target has been selected and it will automatically fire as soon as that thing is ready to go. It's going to be very close indeed. It's all going to come down, I guess, to whether or not Armageddon has spotted it and whether he can prioritize it. It's opened up. He has to get on it now. I don't think he's going to make it. He has spotted it. The laser goes out. The shield covers it. It hits the nuke. What? That's insane. That is the closest a nuke has ever gotten out without being destroyed in the silo. Literally, the flames were licking the hind heels of the missiles that left the bomb doors on the ground. And that's going straight after Fresh Celery, the blast radius, if he doesn't move his commander now, will kill the comm. That's going to be a fabulous nuke. I think Fresh Celery has left it too late. He wanted to move that the second he heard it. Boom, baby! Fresh Celery out at 30 minutes and 35 seconds. Armageddon escaped just barely. And Team 2 find themselves another man down. However, they do have a GC deep into enemy territory. He's in the red, 28,000 hit points left, gets a ranking vet. No, he doesn't. Excuse me, it looked like it did for a moment, but he doesn't. Opens up there on Hadouken's facilities. He's got Corsairs swarming all over him. Strap bombers there as well. That looked like it just overshot slightly. A quick control K of all of the engineers around there prevents him from getting any easy ranks there in veterancy. Somehow Dately steps over the T2P gen of Hadouken's there. A truly balletic GC if you ever saw one. But Lextalk away on a cigarette break, doesn't fancy life anyway. Who does, after all? Standing still. Cool guys don't look at explosions. Doesn't even turn around. Will the GC survive to kill off Lextalk? Lextalk into the yellow, almost into the red, and the GC dies. I don't believe it. That's ridiculous. Lextalk survives with 5,000 hit points, and things go from bad to worse for Team 2 that now only have 2 members left. There is, however, another New Hope rolling in through the southern aperture from Armageddon. That second Colossus we saw being constructed earlier, now going to work on the pile of Perseus down here, sucking one up with each arm and shooting the rest with its face, because why not? 2 Perseus left. And he's only lost now about 20-25% of its hit points in the process. This is unreal, but Chosen completes a bug, and Lextalk, caught sleeping once again, will go out just a minute or 2 later. So another scout, this time from a Team 1 ACU. Their attack pings going down on Tager's ACU up here. He's frantically trying to build Myrmidons, but that's surely not going to be enough to protect the commander against that bug, which is making a beeline straight for him. Tager working on a 4th SAM there. Chosen's bug is going to take a lot of damage in order to kill off the bug. It looks like he's switched out to the Myrmidons. I'd stay on Tager's commander, surely, wouldn't you? And looks like that's what he switched up to there. And oh my word, what is going on there? Armageddon must have been strap bombed. I don't believe it. Chosen does manage to kill off Tager, so now Armageddon goes out first, and now Chosen is alone all by himself against Major Jock and Hadouken. And there is the desync. Regrettably, Tager is out. Hopefully those messages won't continually reappear. Just a ridiculous game. And he'll want to go straight in after Major Jock, who is building an arse washer up here at the top. But look at the amount of SAMs he's got under pretty solid T2 shield coverage at the top. And that bug is badly damaged already. It's got 108 kills to its name, but only 34,000 hit points. And he'd do better really to go and try and kill Hadouken. Hadouken already under pressure at the far eastern edge of the map over here. Com under shield coverage, but being harassed from the skies by a strap bomber. But the bug will well and truly finish him off. And then it is a crazy situation, a 1v1. And in fact, Chosen a lot more spread out. Interestingly though, Major Jock still out ecoing him on this tiny batch of land up here at the top. Chosen already spreading out nicely, picking up T2 mexes as he goes. Surely Chosen will breeze past Major Jock in terms of eco any second now. Hadouken's shield coverage around his commanders collapses, and his commander's going out at 34 minutes and 14 seconds or so. There he goes. And it is a 1v1 after all of that craziness, the back and forth action. I can't believe we missed the death of Armageddon down here. There must have been some strap bomb pressure down at the bottom. As always, guys, I will put the replay number in the description below this video, so if you want to go back and check out what happened to Armageddon there, it must have been a strap bomb attack. It's the only explanation. And I did see some strap bombers hanging around from Hadouken, so I'm going to make an educated guess that it was him. But I can't be certain at this point. Do feel free to go and check it out, guys, and post it in the comments below. But this is interesting. This Arsewasher Awasar nearly complete. And it's using up huge quantities of the power reserves he's got left. And what power reserves he does have are being depleted by the bug down here that's killing his T2 P-gens. There that one goes. And that is complete. And that gives him huge versatility. Now, we do have the odd ASF kicking around over here, but that's not enough to contend with that experimental bomber. And in fact, it might be worth just keeping that around to help finish off the bug. The bug's going in, recognizes the danger. Chosen doing what he can to finish the game now, but I think it's optimistic. First bomb away, takes out a massive portion of the front line. Major Jock kills off the bug, but in that first pass over the defenses, that Awasar has taken huge amounts of damage, and Chosen has evac'd his commander on board a T2 transport to try and keep him away from that experimental bomber. To be honest, he wants it around. Well, I suppose a lot of the damage that was laid down on that bomber was when it went over this part of the map here. Took out a lot of those with that first bomb. So, but then if he was hanging around here with all of these going up, that's surely the safest bet. But he thinks if he can survive for long enough to let this Monkey Lord potentially finish off Major Jock, then it won't matter. Major Jock has some land defenses. Most of this is anti-air, but he does have 3 T2 PDs there and some coverage. If you can lay down a couple more bombs on it, it won't worry him at all. There go the T2 P-gens. I'm not sure Chosen's going to get this. It's going to be very close indeed. Monkey Lord down to 19,000 hit points. Gets in range. Microwave laser opens up. Bomb takes him down to just 7,000 hit points. And Major Jock will surely finish him off with an overcharge. There he goes. Boom, baby. And Chosen now without any real weapon to fight back. And there's still that Awasar lurking. Oh, dearie, dearie me. And he's got... Where has he got that? He's got T3 radar coverage. I don't know where he's getting that intel from. But he can see something very suspicious down there. And if you see something like that on the mountainside, well, what are you going to think? You're going to think Commander. And you're going to send your experimental bomber right after it to the bottom right-hand corner. Chosen, does he have coverage? Does he know? He doesn't even know where that bomber is. He can't evac his commander. And even if he could, it would get shot down anyway. And it would be an instant lose. There goes the bomb. And Chosen's out. And T1 win. That's absurd. Absolutely absurd. Chosen, if he'd left his commander over here, that game would have gone on. And Major Jock, MVP by a freaking country mile. That was unreal. Absolutely unreal. I can only apologize for missing Armageddon's commander down here, guys. But honestly, commanders were dropping like dominoes in the last 10 minutes of that. That was absolutely insane. I hope you enjoyed it. Absolutely ridiculous game. But well done, Major Jock. Well done, everybody. And like I say, guys, please don't think that it's now okay to litter me with desynced replays. I only played this one because I have assurances that it ended the way it was. And even if you tell me that the replay ends the same, I'm not going to go ahead and do it. The deciding factor really on this was the game was utterly crazy. And I apologize as well if you've seen it before. I mean, it's so old, it may have been cast multiple times by other casters, but it's never bad to get a fresh perspective. I don't think. Anyway, well, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. Don't forget, though, you can support me on Patreon if you feel so inclined. And, of course, like and subscribe if you haven't done so. If you haven't done so already, every like helps each video and helps me, and by extension, the community as well. Thanks again for your time, and I'll see you next time, guys. This is Guile, signing out.